Ahoj, zdravím vás u nového videa. Today you are going to learn a very short word, and that word is li. Let me start with a popular rhyme for children. Kočka leze dírou bez oknem, nebude-li pršet, nezmoknem, nebude-li pršet, nezmoknem, nebude-li pršet. Don't look for any deep meaning behind the lyrics. Nebude-li pršet, nezmoknem. If it doesn't rain, we won't get wet. Nebude-li pršet. Li here works as if, but it's interesting that it becomes like a suffix right after the verb. But there needs to be a dash to separate the verb and this part, this connector. Li means if or in case. And maybe this is the first time you're seeing this. I don't blame you because it is quite archaic. Nowadays, people would not really say it. However, you can find it in some texts. Do you remember my earlier video about the word lze? Just like lze is more common in formal Czech, and you can come across it in more formal texts in academic writing or when you read instructions. Li is used exactly in the same way. If you read instructions, you might find it there. Because it's easy, it's really short, it saves space. So it is important to understand this as a passive knowledge, because sometimes you can even hear it in songs or slogans, old movies,
Chceš-li přesnou mužku míti, musíš kolalo kupíti.
Or quotes. For example, this one from Johann Wolfgang Goethe. Chceš-li dostat chytrou odpověď, musíš položit chytrou otázku. Chceš-li. If you want to get a smart answer, you must ask a smart question. When you see how it's being used, you will see there is a verb in the proper form, dash and then li. And that's how it's used. It's never used with the infinitive form. The most common forms would be the present tense and the future tense. Either a perfective verb or the imperfective with bude. Sometimes you can even see it with past tense, but it's not that common. Let's see more examples. Ahoj, vítejte na mém kanále Czech by Zuzka, kde vám pomocí angličtiny vysvětluju českou gramatiku. Budete-li mít štěstí, uvidíte v moři želvy. If you are lucky, you will see turtles in the sea. Budete-li mít štěstí. Budete-li mít štěstí. That's how I would read it quickly. Budete-li. And you can replace this by a more modern word, jestli. But the difference is that you would use jestli in front of the verb and separate it from that word. Jestli budete mít štěstí, or pokud, for example. Or a recommendation for a movie. Máte-li v lásce přírodu, určitě si film nenechte ujít. If you love nature, don't miss this movie. Máte-li v lásce přírodu. Jestli máte. Další příklad. Klesne-li teplota pod nulu, začne se voda měnit v led. If the temperature drops below zero, water will start turning into ice. Klesne-li teplota pod nulu, začne se voda měnit v led. Klesne-li, jestli klesne. So far so good? There are also common expressions with li. For example, something that you could use when you talk about your scientific findings. Vezmeme-li v potaz, že, or vezmeme-li v úvahu, že, means if we take into consideration that. V potaz or v úvahu, those are the same things. You could have another clause with že, or you could also have a direct object. Vezmeme-li v úvahu současnou situaci, je to nejlepší řešení. If we take the current situation into consideration, it is the best option. Vezmeme-li v úvahu, vezmeme-li v potaz. If we take into consideration. Good phrase. Or this phrase. Není-li uvedeno jinak. Unless stated otherwise. Není-li uvedeno jinak. Autorem materiálu je magistra Anna Macháčková. Není-li uvedeno jinak. The author of the material is Anna Macháčková, unless stated otherwise. Není-li uvedeno jinak. Very formal, but still used. Or this phrase. Je-li náš předpoklad správný, pak. And then you complete the sentence. If our assumption is correct, then. Je-li náš předpoklad správný. Jestli je. In this video, I'm giving you examples with verbs, but li also appears at the end of some other words. I'm going to give you an example where it has the same function. For example, ne-li, ne-li, and we also spell it the same way. Ne-li, which means if not. Usually with the word víc, ne-li víc, if not more. Bylo to 10 milionů, ne-li víc. It was 10 million, if not more. Ne-li více, which would be more formal. And you can also find it in words zdali, which means whether, a little bit archaic too. And jestli, the word I mentioned just before, which means if. Why am I talking about this word that it's hardly ever used nowadays? As I mentioned before, it is helpful to understand it. You don't have to use it, but sooner or later you will find it somewhere or hear it somewhere. And after seeing this video, you won't have a problem understanding it. Let's remember this word by doing a quick exercise. There are 4 sentences containing li, verb with li. And I want you to change them into a more modern language. For example, udělejte to, chcete-li. Do it if you wish, if you want. And instead of chcete-li, I want you to say jestli chcete. Notice that we say jestli chcete. The word order is inverted and it's also written as 2 words. So this is what I want you to do with the rest of the sentences. It's very easy because you don't have to change the verb form. Are you ready? Připraveni? Pause the video and resume it when you're ready to check it. Číslo 1. Budete-li s našimi službami spokojení? And the more modern version is jestli budete s našimi službami spokojení, doporučte nás vašim známým. Číslo 2. Chcete-li se vyhnout davům? And the other version would be jestli se chcete vyhnout davům, zkuste kateřinskou jeskyni. Notice the word order because chcete-li is considered as one word. So se would be in the second position. But if we change it and we use it with jestli, jestli is a separate word. Jestli se chcete vyhnout. So se is also in the second position. Číslo 3. Ucítí-li včela kouř? And the version with jestli. Jestli včela ucítí kouř, myslí si, že začalo hořet. Číslo 4. Člověk pochybuje i o tom, jestli to, co dělá, je správné a má-li pokračovat. And this part would be a jestli má pokračovat. To je všechno. There's nothing complicated about this word. The only puzzling part is that it's not used so much anymore. Write an example with li in the comments. Maybe you saw it somewhere. Or think about examples where you could use this word. Budu se těšit, I'll be looking forward. To je ode mě všechno, děkuji, že jste se dívali. Uvidíme se za týden. Ahoj!